Good morning, learners. Welcome to today's lesson. Today we'll be continuing with our lesson, which is Construction Materials 1. And today's lesson, we'll be covering the topic Material Handling and Storage Safety Measures. And my name is Newton Mogaka. So basically, what the topic entails is just some information about how materials should be handled and moved around the site. So as we proceed, we'll be defining material handling and also material storage. But before that, today's learning objectives are by the end of the lesson, you as the learner should be able to identify the methods of handling construction materials, and also you should be able to identify the methods of storage of construction materials. Yeah, so material handling refers to movement, protection, storage, and control of construction materials throughout a site. And the material storage, it refers to how materials are kept safely when not in immediate use. I believe that most of you have been to a construction site before, or, or rather you found yourself on a construction site or passing by or visiting a construction site. And basically, what material handling refers to, it's how when materials are stored after they are acquired and they're bought, they are stored in a storage facility, right? And that is before they are put into use. So that's what material storage refers to. Then when the construction begins, now the materials need to be moved from the storage facilities to the site where they need to be used now. So the actions of carrying these materials from the storage facilities all the way to the site where they need to be put into work or into use is what material handling refers to. The importances of proper handling proper handling of materials and storage are many because when they are handled properly, one, the workers are able to protect themselves. They protect themselves against harm. They also protect the materials against like destroying them, contaminating them, or putting them in a state that they cannot be put into use. So some of these include it improves efficiency. It ensures smooth material flow across the site. That is saving time and effort. It also protects materials. It reduces damage and contamination of materials, preserving the material quality, making sure that they are in the best state possible for use. Also, it reduces costs, that is, it limits waste and losses. When materials are carried properly, they are not harmed, they are not destroyed, and they can be used. So you don't need to rebuy the materials, increasing the cost. So it ensures compliances, it meets legal and industry standards for health of the personnel working on site, the safety of the materials and also the safety of the personnel, and also it conserves the environment. When the materials are stored properly and even after use they are disposed properly, it conserves the environment. That fourthly, it promotes sustainability. That is, it encourages safe disposal and eco-conscious storage to reduce environmental harm. Proceeding, there are some common, now that we are done with the importances of proper handling of materials and storing them, we can continue to the common hazards that result from poor material handling. And some of these include injuries from manual lifting. That is, okay, let's give an example. When working on a site and the workers have to carry bags of cement on their backs, it's most likely going to lead to harm, to injuries on their backs, their legs, because okay, those bags are very heavy. And I think if some of you have had the opportunity to lift those bags with their bare hands, it's some tedious work, and Doing that with over 50 bags, that is because on a construction site, you're working 12 hours a day, you'll not end up lifting one bag. You lift like, let's say 20 on average for a person. That is so much strain that you're putting on your body, and it's going to result into harm. So there are strains, sprains, or back injuries due to improper lifting techniques or overexertion. Secondly, there are trips and slips. That is when materials are handled in a poor manner. They are laid out everywhere. They are not arranged. They are stored carelessly across the site. They will obstruct walkways, and these scattered materials they increase the risk of slipping or tripping. That is, okay, let's say we have blocks of timber laid out just everywhere, laid out on the walkways and paths on site. These are going to cause slips and trips, which are going to make people fall. Then there's material damage. That is weather exposure. That is to rain, sun, snow. But in our location, it doesn't snow. So we're talking for places where they experience snowing. This weather, the exposure to weather can degrade materials, especially if not covered or stored properly. That's materials like cement. Okay, using cement again as an example. We all know that when cement comes into contact with water, it hardens. It starts its hydration processes. So when storing these materials such as cement, you have to make sure that you store them in a cool, dry place, so such that by the time they are put into use, the quality is still desirable for working on. So the fourth hazard is environmental contamination. That is pollutants seeping into soil or water uh, for hazardous materials. I can result to careless storage of hazardous materials. That is okay. Let's say for sand, because sand is one of the mostly carelessly stored construction material. When you store sand just anywhere outside, most of it is in contact with the soil, right? So most of it is going to seep into the soil. And when that cement has been used for construction and that patch where the cement was placed, it's going to be undesirable, like maybe for working on, maybe let's say for farming, because the soil there, it has become sandy due to the seeping of some cement, some sand particles into the soil. Yeah. So when storing sand, let's say sand, you should ensure maybe you lay out a polythene paper over the area, and then you can place the sand on the polythene paper. Or if it's a cemented floor, you can place the sand there, because you can be able to collect all the sand particles even after construction, and the place can be washed and reused. So proceeding, we have principles for material handling. So you should use proper lifting techniques. That is, instead of carrying cement bags with your backs and hands, you should use wheelbarrows, you should use lifts, you should use any other materials, mechanical materials that are there, instead of using your bare hands. There's team lifting for heavy items. When materials are too heavy or bulky, you use teamwork to ensure safety handling. Also, there is wearing of appropriate PPEs, that is personal protective equipment, that is gloves when touching cement, masks when dealing with cement, such that you don't inhale the cement, which is harmful to your health. Steel toe boots, that is safety boots, such that some of these materials don't fall and crush your knees, your toes, and your feet. Also, there are helmets. Helmets should be compulsory on a site, because on a site, things are falling. Let's say when working on a site, we have stones falling from the construction of walls. We have anything can fall from a construction site. So having a helmet on a construction site is compulsory, because you have to protect your head. A helmet can be able to adequately protect your head. Then we proceed to there are also other safety principles. You should utilize mechanical aids, that is using of lifts to lift, that is concrete when working on upper floors of a building. Use forklifts to carry materials, heavy materials, hoist and cranes. You have to plan the route that you're going to walk around the construction site, and then you have to secure the loads. You have to make sure that the loads are adequately balanced, wrapped, and strapped before moving them. And then you have to you have to label hazardous materials so that the users, the construction workers, can be able to read and know how to properly handle such materials. As we proceed, you have to another subtopic, which is storage safety guidelines for materials. So number one, we have stable stacking, which stacks materials on flat, firm surfaces with heavy items at the bottom to prevent toppling. Clean and organized areas ensure storage zones are free from clutter, spills, or obstruction to minimize tripping and contamination. And then you have protection from the weather. Use cover, shelters, or indoor storage to shield materials from rain, sunlight, and humidity. In the presentation, you can see a cover that has been used to protect sand from the weather. Then you have secure storage. That is locking up materials storage rooms with adequate security. You have to lock them up with padlocks. You have to maybe employ guards to protect that materials because most of them are actually expensive. So you have to avoid losing them to thieves. Then lastly, I think our last subtopic of the day. Okay, you have other storage safety measures. You have to clean organized areas, ensure storage zones are free from clutter, spills, or obstructions to minimize tripping and contamination. Then you have to observe load limits. Don't exceed the load capacity of shelves or racks to prevent structural collapse. And we have special storage for hazardous materials like cement and other adhesives that are used on site. Yeah, and lastly, I would like I would like to actually show you a video of a properly organized construction site, and you can see all the material handling safety measures and principles have been observed. You can see the walkways or where the trucks are parked, where they are mixing cement. The pathways are adequately shown. The routes have been planned earlier. You can see they're using cranes to lift heavy materials, and no, the workers are not using their bare hands to carry heavy materials. Yeah, you can see use of forklifts to lift rocks, stones, and other materials. Here you can, and finally, I think you can see the construction site has been shielded off to ensure that other people that are using the area know that this is a construction site, and maybe should keep off the area because they are likely full of debris from the construction, and also sand, and also dust, cement dust, sand dust, construction dust. Yeah, and that brings us to the end of the lesson. Thank you very much.